This is Dabu 7. We have a massive cyber situation unraveling in Nevada. This has been ongoing for several days now, since Sunday, and they are saying it's still not resolved. This is targeting a lot of places that are vulnerable. It is targeted Change Healthcare. They say that Change Healthcare is part of United Health Group. It's impacting hospitals, healthcare facilities all across the state. This attack is attributed to the Alpha V Black Cat group. They're saying that they have disrupted communication systems and services, affecting the ability to care for patients. They say approximately 4 terabytes of healthcare information was stolen. So they've had this information stolen. Some of them cannot get back online until this is resolved, and this goes on. This is like all across the state. The entire state, like paralyzed. All the state stuff and websites is locked down. The gaming control board has also been struck here. It's been compromised, leading to an outage. They say that while no personal or financial information was believed to have been stolen here, the attack affected the public-facing website. They go on to say here that this is something they're dealing with and trying to resolve, but it is being described as ransomware at this point, where they're wanting money to have the information given back, or I don't know. What do you do in that situation when someone steals all of the information? They want a ransom. You pay the ransom, but they're still sitting on all the information, which they could just go ahead and release. So at this point, this is a pretty big one. Anyone trying to go to the DMV to get licensed or anything like that, you're not going to be able to right now. Again, healthcare, post offices, all this stuff is going to be affected by this, and they have not nipped this in the bud. If this spreads to other states, it's not going to be good. Anyhow, this is the latest. I'll leave links. Follow me on Instagram for more. Much love.
Shalom. First and foremost, I'm going to give all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahweh Shai Ba'Hashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone and rule well. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect. News in the gospel, bro. Lifting up the standard of Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahweh Shai, wherever it may be. This is another lesson through the Spirit. This is what I was alluding to earlier in the video I did a few hours ago about how it mentioned Nevada paralyzed, huge ransomware cyber attack crippled several state services, mass data compromise. And as he mentioned, he said that basically they want from ransom. Okay, like almost like a cyber blackmail, almost. Well, not necessarily blackmail, but a ransom, meaning that we give you give us this in exchange for an exception amount of dollars, and the result will be you get your information back. Now, if you look at the whole ordeal, Babylon is an array of hell, of hurt, all right? Because the scriptures go into you spoil many people, therefore you should be spoiled. Now, of course, this can be many ways. This can be a psyop. It can be an inside job that's done within, you know, to be justified on pushing certain security parameters around this new banking system, this new digital system that they're getting ready to get up and running or boot up. Also with the healthcare, as lots of doctors and nurses and so forth are being allegedly fired and let go, and a lot of CNAs. You know, there's a lot of shit that's happening in the world, man. And state services, or these bureaucracies, which soon to be completely under one government, they're collapsing these systems, man. All right, because he mentioned. And the article says officials confirmed on Wednesday that the cyber attack on Nevada Sunday morning was a ransomware attack. Now, it's Thursday, so that was roughly like 5 days ago. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, roughly 4 or 5 days ago. And they still haven't got this on the wraps, which shows you, man, Babylon is in critical danger, you know, because breaches are happening, data breaches, people getting their information taken. People can't get their driver's license, you know, and sooner than later, you know, as far as court records is concerned, hey, this could very well lead over into the justice system, which eventually it will, because eventually this entire system is going to collapse. And you know what? Fucking good riddance to this goddamn place, man. Okay, I pray that this happen in all 50 states, because you know what? Enough is enough. All right, people are tired of living under the oppressive thumb under this so-called white man anyway. So it is what it is. Okay, we don't lose sleep. But it says for the first time since the incident, there was a press conference on Wednesday in Carson City. Now, I don't know if Vegas was affected, but it did mention Nevada. All right. And I don't remember if he mentioned Vegas. I didn't hear it in the video. But usually when you're doing a screen recording, it's kind of hard to hear what the commentator is saying if you actually play a video. So pardon me on that aspect. But it says, well, several agencies are working to restore services at state offices. And good for you states, because the states, they ain't do nothing but play the Most High anyway. Okay, states have been put in place to oppress people. Okay, oppress people through taxes, through child support, okay, through police agencies, through healthcare. All this shit is set up to oppress the people, man. And quite frankly, people, they're tired of having a state government and a federal government dictate their affairs and jurisdictions in their lives, man. Okay, so this is getting ready to be a huge blowback because they're asking for ransom money. Like they got like it's a hostage situation, man. All right. But it says here, when it comes to the cyber attack itself, they weren't able to provide a lot of information due to the ongoing investigation. But state officials couldn't share whether a ransom demanded or why the state was the target. Well, it makes sense because Nevada, they got a lot of underground betting going on, a lot of off-book betting. Okay, a lot of bodies come up missing, and they got the term, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. And there's a lot of old money in Vegas, man. Okay, as we know that those the strip is ran by Italian, Irish, and small hat mobsters, man. Okay, all types of elites got their hands in Vegas because a lot of the money and the ill dealings that go down there, the prostitution rings, the hits for hire, all that's insured, man, off the books. But it says here, Nevada Governor Joe Lombardo has initially said Monday there were no signs of personal data that was stolen. But however, in a news conference Wednesday, Tim Gazzulli, Nevada State Chief Information Officer, indicated that personal information may have been taken. And if they asking for ransom, then 9 times out of 10, personal information was compromised. And all our information is compromised if you really want to be quite frank, because all our information are uploaded to these so-called private servers, but government entities, corporations, they all have access to our information. So if you got a social security number and you have a driver's license, then 9 times out of 10, your shit has been on the black market. Okay, that's no ifs, ands, or buts. And I can guarantee you will find something about your information or yourself on the black market, whether it be financial or whatever it may be. Esau done sold your data 10 times. Going back to that data breach we had a couple of years ago, But anyway, it says here, shit, where the hell am I at? I lost it. Yep, it says, I must disclose that our ongoing forensic investigation has found evidence that indicates some data have been exfiltrated or moved outside of the state network by malicious actors, Gazzulli told reporters. But at this stage, we cannot yet identify or classify the specific nature of this data, which is all lies. Okay, because see, another thing too, they're using order app KO to push certain security parameters to get you people to bug out. Okay, because we told you that this new system is going to come in through panic and chaos and fear, man. All right, because the average American, their biggest fear is having their information taken and being used against their will and used against them. Therefore, it causes people to make rash decisions, man, not wise decisions. You see? But anyway, reading on, it says, we want to remind our citizens that this statewide outage is impacting almost every state agency's operation. Wow. So child support must be affected in that, even though they're not mentioning it. But that's a state agency, which is illegal, by the way. But also it reads, it says impacting almost every state agency's operations and connectivity to impact safety and the health and human services fields need to take priority over DMV services. It says DMV though, so the driver motor vehicle. But it says the outage also prevented law enforcement from accessing state DMV records. Wow, that's crazy. It says for a good part of Sunday, the dispatch phone lines for Nevada State Police were down, and emergency and essential operations such as 911 service was available. All right, so yeah, they're doing something big, and I speculate that they're getting ready to deplete this system offline, because if you go back into what Cotton Swab had said back in 2023, he already said this is going to be the year of poly crisis. He said it, the years of poly crisis, and when you go into poly, it goes into multiple. All right, so we're witnessing a strategic breakdown of order and chaos, man. Because like I said, eventually, what's going to be able to coil all this nonsense is the MOT to the B, the mark of the beast. That's going to be the solution to get everything back going and running. But they got to let shit get really chaotic first, you know? But anyway, let's go a good precept here, because we know at the end of the day, whether it's random or not, you know, we know that Esau has actors. We know that Esau is involved in underground networks. We know that you have a CIA within the NSA, which is basically the front door to the CIA. They have ties with other governments and black ops and so forth like that, that they can pay mercenaries and hackers to do this shit. Because if you saw that movie called War of the Worlds with Ice Cube, guess what? Guess who was hacking the server? His own fucking son. He was trying to expose the government, because basically the government was responsible for data breaches and giving everybody's information over to terrorists and shit, man. So it's like, you can't put nothing past Esau if you think he's upright. But it reads, this is the book of Proverbs 4, and I'm going to start at verses 14. It says, enter not into the path of the wicked, and go not in the way of evil men. All right? And basically, essentially, that's saying, look, in this system, you have no choice but to be put into the grid unless you're going to be homeless, man. So our dealings is forcing us to be head up with Esau. But even then, there's a certain aspect that you don't get involved in when it comes to this damn devil, man. Okay, because Esau give you a price, and before you know it, you're teaching that pigs can teach the Bible, man. You're teaching that pork is lawful. You're teaching the fucking Trinity doctrine, hell doctrine. All right, and this is why a lot of you Israelites out there, you're gonna get caught off guard by this coming collapse, because you're not grounded, man. You're not rooted. You see? And it reads, and it says, avoid it and pass not by it, and turn from it and pass away. It says, for they sleep not, except they have done mischief, and their sleep is taken away unless they cause some to fall. So this nigga, he can't do wickedness. He can't go a day without doing wickedness. And if he don't do wickedness, he won't be able to rock himself to sleep at night. You know, like they say, how do you sleep at night when you do something so evil? But this devil, man, hey, he has to do evil in order for him to get a good night's sleep. So if he can oppress you and take things away from you, or ultimately put you in the spirit world, or make your life miserable to the point of insanity, he's done his job, and he can literally rest at night with his thumb in his mouth, you know, versus a person that do a good deed and they can go home and their conscience is clear. This nigga can't sleep unless he has an unclear conscience. Killing and making people suffer is the way of him clearing his conscience. Show you how fucking diabolical this man is, man. All right, it says, for they eat the bread of wickedness and drink the wine of violence, man. All right, because everything Esau do has a violent end. It has a violent it has a violent turnout rate. Okay, when he's going to be diplomatic and saying we need peace, and all of a sudden 7 other fucking wars break out. All right, because that's how this man gets down. He's a bloody man. He's a deceitful man. So you can't believe nothing that this damn devil say. But regardless of it, the scriptures go into terror shall make him afraid. All right, and his state agencies, soon his federal governments, eventually the Lord is going to put a plug on all this shit. And all you people that worked and got these high pristine titles and job offers and shit like that, you're going to realize that everything you did was in vain. Okay, because the scriptures say, let the seller that sell it be as though he has no merchandise, man. So it ain't looking too good for this system. And you know what? Good riddance to it. Okay, I've been ready to see this motherfucker collapse years ago. You know? Scriptures go into terror should drive him to his feet. Because how the fuck are you going to have all this technology? All this technology and all this intelligence on people and different government agencies, but yeah, you you can't figure out what was taken, or you're just not disclosing to the people. You know, because it's more than medical records, man. They don't give a shit about medical records. I mean, they don't care about that. It's more about what they're gonna do with it and how they're gonna control the people, because they've pushed that HIPAA law shit to the point people are on. They get offended when their personal data is leaked, which I mean they should. You know, if you walking around with a catheter in your goddamn ball sack, then you know, and you don't want nobody to know that, and they come up with the HIPAA regulations, and then they're overly sensitive to that. So when you push the narrative, or hey, you know, in order for us to fix this whole data breach and to keep your information secure, then you know it's best for us to opt into a digital system where Big Brother watches you. But if people were smart, they will understand that anything that deals with digital or computer interface can be hacked. Okay, your chip can be hacked, god damn it, because it's nothing more but a computer device. And guess who can hack it? The people that distribute it to you, man. Book of Job 18, and I'm gonna start at verses 11. It says here, terror should make him afraid on every side and should drive him to his feet. Yeah, because every time you turn on the news, you hear about cyber attack, T attack, mass shooters, this shooting, that shooting, that shooting, that person, this, that. Iran got nuclear capabilities. North Korea, Russia threatens America with nuclear technology. You know, there's always some type of fear mongering or some type of war shit going on in the news, man. You know, and you would ask yourself, like, wait a minute, man, if you got it all together, then why the hell is everybody coming up against you? It's because you're wicked. Okay, so the likes of Palantir and Stargate and all these other different companies or corporations, they all set up to rule you people into that chip. And that's where all this folly is heading to. Okay? In my opinion, fuck a state agency, man. Who gives a fuck? This shit needs to collapse tonight. You know? But it reads, it says, his strength should be hunger bidden, and destruction should be ready at his side. And it should devour the strength of his skin. Even the firstborn of death should devour his strength, which is Yahweh Shai, man. And part of his strength is his deception, his media, his witchcraft, his weapon. Because when he can't get the drop on you and he can't get the advantage on you, then he has no advantage at all, man. Especially when people are waking up to the media. Esau's cooked, you know. But we at the end. Romans 13:11, it says, in that knowing the time, that it is now high time to wake up out of sleep. It says, for now is our salvation nearer than what we believe. Yeah. Okay, in Nevada, that's a very important state because Esau brings in a lot of undocumented money in from Vegas, bro. Okay, it's billions and billions and billions of dollars that's been running through Vegas since its inception. Now, Vegas is getting dried up, but you still got a lot of old money that go through there. So, hell yeah, man, he's afraid. And it reads, it says, the night is far spent and the day is at hand. Let us therefore cast off the work of darkness and let us put on an arm of light. So us in this thing, we have to be ready for whatever. Okay, we got to be ready to go on a fly, and we got to be ready to be circumspect at all times, man. Because, I mean, literally, you can wake up tomorrow and this whole system collapse, man. Okay, the scripture said that the Lord should come as a thief in the night. Peace and safety, then sudden destruction. It's going to be like flicking a switch. One day everything gonna be cool. You know, you're gonna be at the local baseball game eating caramel corn and fucking hot dogs or white bread, and before you know it, before the game is over, it's a fucking EMP or a cyber attack hits the grid. Everybody's panicking, trying to call customer service. How? You ain't got no cell phone, you ain't got no towers, man. Then everybody's gonna be bugging out, all in a frenzy. Because for the simple fact, they didn't prepare for the evil day, man. This is why it's very important for us brothers to not get too attached to the things we have, man. You know, like my bank was experiencing issues for the last 2 days, man. I was pretty pissed off because it was just at the wrong time when I needed to do some important things. But I just left it in the Lord's hand, and I was like, do I really give a fuck? You know, I mean, I gave a fuck for the reason because I had things to do as far as, you know, for the ministry, but my own personal, I really didn't give a shit. Yeah, I mean, inconvenience is always a bad thing when they're messing with your funds because you need to eat. But I just prayed and left it in the Lord's hand. I'm like, okay, well, the Lord got it. And I timed it. I'm like, well, shit, it's going to have to either be fixed today or tomorrow. And lo and behold, you know, I mean, allegedly they got it straight, but Then again, other problems could occur because you might not even be able to use the card at this point because they're doing shit. They're switching things over. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. You know? But it reads, it says, the night is far spent and the day is at hand. So let us therefore cast off the works of darkness. Let us put on the armor of light and let us walk honestly as in the day, not in rioting or drunkenness, not in chambering and wantonness, not in strife and envying, but putting on Yahweh Shah Mashiach and make not provisions for the flesh to fulfill the lust thereof, man. So this is time to really tap in spiritually and stay locked in the Holy Spirit, brother, because like I mentioned earlier, things are getting ready to come down the pipe. This system is getting ready to go offline and people is getting ready to lose their damn minds out here, all right? But anyway, this wasn't going to be a quick lesson. I had several more precepts, but I think that made the point. Giving all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, Lord's will, you will edify. Until the next lesson. Shalom.